Hi there. In this video we're going to take a look at introducing the idea of network analysis, otherwise known as CPA or critical path analysis. We'll take a look at what the analysis means, how you draw the diagram, and have a go at completing a full diagram and identifying the critical path. CPA or network analysis is actually a fairly widely used method in business to help analyse and plan projects, particularly those which are complex and where there are lots of activities that are dependent on preceding activities. The aim of CPA is to try and identify the longest path of a project, which actually enables you to work out the shortest time a project can be completed. That might sound a bit odd, but hopefully we'll explain how that works in this short video. And the reason why CPA or network analysis is included in the A-level and other specifications is that it's fairly widely used, and it's particularly important as a tool for businesses that get involved in complex and high-risk projects. For example, construction projects would be a good example of the kind of practical application of network analysis. What you need for your critical path analysis or network are three things. Firstly, a list of the activities involved in the project. Secondly, how long each activity will take. This is known as the duration. And thirdly, the dependencies between these activities. What we mean by this is the activities that have to be completed first before a dependent activity can start. It's pretty unlikely to be asked to draw a network diagram from scratch in an exam. You may be given a part complete one or asked to interpret the effect of a change in the network. But what we'll do here is explain how the diagram is constructed from first principles and then show you how you calculate the critical path by identifying the float. Well, what a network diagram does is look to identify the longest path of planned activities to the end of the project. This is known as the critical path. Activities on the critical path can't be delayed without extending or delaying the project further. That's why they are on the longest path. They can't be delayed. When we work out the diagram, we're looking for the earliest start time that each activity can start, and of course taking into account the dependencies, the activities that have to be finished first, and then we work backwards to identify the latest finishing time that each activity can finish. And once we've done that, we're able to identify those activities that are on the critical path. That's the longest path. These are activities that can't be delayed without making the project longer. When we draw our diagram, there are some essential features to understand. Firstly, there are the nodes represented by circles. They're often given a number or a reference to indicate the node, the specific node we're looking at. And in the top right hand quadrant of the node, we write down the earliest start time. And in the bottom right hand quadrant, we note down and calculate the latest or last finishing time for that node. And these are determined, as we'll see in a second, by the activities and their durations of the network. The network is built up by identifying a series of activities, in this case activity H, and we normally add on the duration of the activity to help us build the critical path network diagram. Okay, so let's have a look at an example of that in action. As we do it, we will adopt what are known as the 4 golden rules of a CPA or network analysis diagram. Firstly, we always work from left to right first when we calculate the earliest start time. And where 2 or more activities meet at a node, the earliest start time is always the highest calculated figure. We'll see an example of that in a few seconds. Next, when we've completed the earliest start times all the way from one side of the diagram to the other, from left to right, we then work from right to left, working backwards to work out the latest finishing time. And here, where 2 or more activities meet, we always take the lowest calculated figure. All will become obvious as we work through this example, but those are the key rules. Always start from left to right to calculate earliest start time, or EST. Where 2 more activities meet, the EST is always going to be the highest figure because we have to wait for the longest activity to be completed. And then when we finish the EST, that gives us the completion time for the project. We can then work backwards to find the LFT and identify where there is some float in the activities. Okay, here's our example diagram. We're going to work our way through this, and might highlight, using this highlighter tool here, how the diagram gets built. At node 1 there are two activities, A and B, that spin off from that. And before we can do activities C, D and E, we have to wait for A and B to finish. So clearly the start of the network is 0. Now the next node, node 2, well we're working earlier start times here. We always take the highest figure. So we can wait a week for B to finish because we have to wait 2 for A to be finished. So the critical path is trying to find the longest path here. So the earliest start time that we can start C, D and E must be 2. We have to wait for A to finish. We can see from node 2 that 3 activities spin off from node 2, activities C, D and E. Now which is the EST for node 3? Well, clearly we have to wait for the longest time. We have to wait for all the activities to be finished, which must mean we have to wait for C to be finished. So we always take the highest calculated figure. 2 plus 9 must be 11. Similarly, for node 4, to arrive at node 4, we have to wait for 2 more activities to be finished, F and G. But of course we'll have to wait longer for F to finish. So the EST of node 4 must be 11, plus the longest activity, in this case it's F, to 11 plus 2 is 13. There is only one activity that follows node 4, which is H. In this case, launching the product, it takes 1 week. Therefore, the completion time for the project, the longest time of the project, completion time is 14 weeks. Then to work backwards, well, obviously the last finishing time is 14 as well. We work backwards and we always take the lowest calculated figure. It must be 13 at node 4. And similarly, as we're working back, we'll take the lowest figure, must be 11. And we'll take the lowest figure again, must be 2. And therefore take the lowest figure again, must be 0. That works out the latest finishing times. Now, what do we glean from that? What is the critical path there? What is the longest path through the diagram? The activities that can't be delayed without making the whole project last longer than 14 weeks. Well, one way of identifying that is to look for activities that have no float. What do we mean by float? The float is the duration an activity can be extended or delayed without the project being delayed further. So it can still finish within the minimum time. And the calculation of float is the LFT less the duration less the EST. And we'll do a quick calculation of those to show that in action. So here in the same diagram there, if we were to take that minimal formula there, let's work out the float. It's the LFT, take away the duration, take away the earliest start time. And so we do that for each of the 8 activities. We can work out that A has no float, but B has a float. It can be delayed by a week. C has no float, but D and E have some float. They can be delayed for quite a long time. 5, 6, and 7 weeks in the case of E without making the project delayed any further. F has no float, G has 1 week in float, and H has no float. And the key thing here to remember is that activities on the critical path have 0 float. That's the best way of identifying activities on the critical path. They have 0 float, and they can't therefore be delayed without delaying the whole project further. So just a reminder, activities with a float of 0 cannot be delayed. If they are delayed, they will delay the whole project, and therefore activities with a float of 0 are on and represent the critical path, and they're often marked by a short double line there to identify, particularly in complex network diagrams, what the critical path is. In this case, the activities on the critical path are A, C, F and H. If any one of those 4 was delayed, the overall effect will be to delay the completion time for completion of task H and the end of the project. So there we go. That's an overview of how you draw your critical path diagram. In other videos, we'll take a look at interpreting a completed diagram and looking at the potential implications of changes to the diagram, which might be one way the examiner could test you. Just to summarise though, CPA network analysis is all about analysis of a complex project, trying to work out where the project needs to be and how the project needs to be organised and resources best used to minimise the time taken for completion. For example, activities that have float could be reorganised, they're rescheduled, or perhaps resources that are on them moved to an activity that has no float, and therefore potentially you might be able to reduce the duration of that activity. A very, very useful management technique. Hopefully you found that useful. That's been an introduction to critical path analysis.